And now, from Shenango Valley Studios, coming to you live, one of the most talked about shows in the Shenango Valley, because it's the only show in the Shenango Valley. Your host, Sean Zippi with The Zip Code.
Thank you, folks. Thank you, folks. Thank you to you, my friend Andrew Gary, for putting together that beautiful masterpiece of an intro. We appreciate you, brother. Folks, we are going to get right to it tonight because we have an amazing guest for you guys. I'm super pumped. This is going to be entertaining. So without further ado, let me bring in Miss Pennsylvania, Miss Tiffany Seitz. Let's bring her in here, folks. We have no time to waste, folks. We got a lot of information to cover here tonight, and this is going to be a fun one.
Here I am.
There she is, Miss Pennsylvania. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I am doing well. So the top of your head is chopped off a little bit.
I was going to say, I see that.
Right. So, now there is the crown.
There it is.
There it is. Now, before we start, because I have a little intro that I'm going to do, but
yes,
do you get to keep that crown?
I do. And the best part about this is that, and I know that we're going to talk about it later, but since I get to be Miss Pennsylvania for 2 years, I also have 2 of these. So lucky me.
Wow. Lucky you is right. Yep. Folks, we're here with Miss Pennsylvania, Tiffany Seitz. She is from the Pittsburgh area, ladies and gentlemen, graduated from Grove City College just a few short years ago. And if you have any questions at all, I know a lot of you sent me questions. I have a list of them. We will get to them throughout the show. But if you have any questions at all, feel free to type them in the chat, and we will get to them throughout the show, I promise, because there is no such thing as a bad question. Right, Tiffany?
No, absolutely not.
So, folks, let's start with this. Let's get into how the heck did Tiffany Seitz become Miss Pennsylvania in the first place? I mean, a lot of the viewers probably don't know the exact process. So part of this show is to kind of give them a little bit of a backlot tour, so to speak. So if we can figure out how the heck you became Miss Pennsylvania, and deservedly so, by the way, we would love that. So just start from the beginning, Tiffany.
Absolutely. So the funny part about this story is that my involvement in the Miss America organization was entirely by accident. So this is like, and I'll be completely and totally honest with you, I was oblivious that the Miss America organization even existed prior to like 2016 or 17. So what had ended up happening was I was in school, I was a junior in college, and I was doing like tech week for one of my dance company performances coming up really soon. And so I had, my dance professor had asked me to come down to his studio, Kevin Garvey and Dottie McGill Dance, down in Grove City, to do a mock interview for some of his students who would be going on to some sort of competition. So I served as a judge on his mock judging panel. And so after, while I was there, I had ended up meeting the judge's chairperson for a local competition in the Miss America organization. And for those of you that aren't familiar and don't really know or understand the way that this works, in order to get to a state competition like Miss Pennsylvania, is you have to have a local title first. So in other words, I had met the judge's chairperson for the Miss Butler County competition, which is my home county. And so they told me, the lady that I met named Kathy, she told me, she's like, hey, have you ever done a pageant before? And I said, well, yes, I did one. I just did one when I was graduating high school, like on a whim. I was like, well, I've never done this before, so I might as well give it a shot. So that was the only pageant experience that I had under my belt. I ended up doing really well that year. I got top 15 in the state, and I won like a talent award, and I won a couple of other awards. So I was like, well, it's not something I'm terrible at, so I might as well give it a whirl here. I don't know what it will bring, but we will see. So the competition was happening the following week. She gave me this like stack of paperwork, and she's like, okay, if you can have this done and notarized in a week's time, we will take you next week. And so I was like, okay, cool. So I did the paperwork. I showed up at rehearsal. with like my old prom dress for evening gown that I wore my senior year of high school. I stopped at the mall, like the Butler Mall, to go grab like other miscellaneous items I needed. I needed a swimsuit, so I went to JCPenney's to grab a swimsuit. I went to Boscov's to grab a cocktail dress. And I show up with like this Mod Podge wardrobe, and I ended up winning first runner up that year. Had no idea what I was doing. And so it was a very new process to me, but I just went through it and I did it, and I got first runner up. And so, since I got first runner up, obviously did not win the local title that was available. So I was like, you know what? It was fun. I had a great time. I'll come back next year, try it again. So I came back the following year, tried Miss Butler County again, and ended up winning that year. And I went to Miss Pennsylvania in 2018 for my very, very first time. So it was a super exciting process. I had such a blast. I made so many great friends. And so I was like, you know, this is something I really like and I really, really enjoy. So I'm going to give it another whirl. So in November of that year, in November of 2018, I ended up doing another local competition, and it wasn't the same one. I ended up going to a different place to compete. And the same thing happened the very first year. I ended up placing first runner up again, so I didn't get a local title. So I told myself, I was like, you know what, it's fine. Wasn't meant to win this year. I'll come back next year. I'll try again. And so all of that changed in April. So what happened was I got a call the week before Easter, and it was the local directors from that competition that I had competed in that November that I won first runner up at. And so they told me, they were like, hey, we have a vacancy in one of our local titles. And unfortunately, we had to have somebody drop out, and we were wondering if you would like to fill her shoes, because the rules state that if a woman has to leave a vacancy in that local title for any reason, the first runner up is the next person to take her place. And so that was me. And so they told me, they were like, we want to offer you this position. If you'd accept, you'd be going to Miss Pennsylvania in like 6 weeks. We know that's not a lot of time to prepare, but if you're willing, we would love to extend this offer to you. And so I did. I decided to take it, and it was the craziest week ever. So a lot of other girls, it was first and foremost, I had ended up missing Miss Pennsylvania orientation that year, because the same weekend I got the call in the first place was the week that orientation was happening. So I missed the big info meeting. So I ended up having to go, I had to complete my paperwork in a week's time. Now, granted, every other girl was crowned already, and they had like 9 months to almost a year to prepare for this competition that I had 6 weeks to prepare for. So one of those weeks was spent shopping, getting a talent together, getting an evening gown. So I learned my talent in 2 rehearsals and a costume I bought on rush order. I had to order my evening gown from Florida in the correct size and color because the shop unfortunately didn't have it in stock. And so I had to grab up a bunch of other miscellaneous items. It kind of felt like the very first local that I did. And so, except I was showing up to the state competition this way, which for me, in my humble opinion, I was showing up gravely unprepared. I was like, you know what? I don't know what's going to happen, but I am here to do my personal best. And that's that. And so I showed up, and unfortunately, you know, and this is kind of later in the story, but my family was not able to actually be in the audience when I won because my mom had ended up getting, she needed an emergency endoscopy surgery that same week. So, and my mom has like a really rare lung condition that when put under gross amounts of anesthesia, we could have lost her that week. And so that was also going on the same week that I was competing for Miss Pennsylvania. So my head was kind of all over the place. I didn't feel the most prepared that I could in that week. And so I kind of showed up. I was like, you know, I'm not really in the best headspace to be competing, but I'm going to still give it my all. I'm still going to do my best. And I just, being perfectly honest, I did not expect anything. I was the least prepared of any candidate, and I had a lot of other stuff going on and more important things to worry about than a pageant, right? And so I went in there and I won. Surprise. So here I am. Crazy, crazy story, but it has been a fun ride. I cannot complain. It's been absolutely outstanding. So I am fortunate, I am blessed, and I am grateful every day that I wear a sparkly hat to work. So it's awesome.
That is awesome. And we will get to your cause in a second here because I know that it's extremely important to you and important to many. Folks, we're here with Tiffany Seitz, Miss Pennsylvania. Thank you to Sheets. Sheets run and done. Tiffany, what do you think of Sheets? You like Sheets?
You know what? I love Sheets. And let me be honest with you. A couple weeks ago, I got my Sheets card. Okay. And for me, that's like particularly exciting because I'm always running into Sheets. And I know if any of you are watching from the east side of the state, I do have to say that Sheetz is better than Wawa. I'm so sorry. So sorry, but I do love Sheetz. You know, the thing is when I walk into Sheetz, like every time I'm checking out, if I'm buying gas, if I'm going in there getting my weekly Snapple and my sharp cheese block, I'm always asked, do you have a Sheetz card? And I always say no. And it's so sad that I don't have a Sheetz card. But for the first time that I've been asked, do I have a Sheetz card? I had somebody finally follow up with me and ask me, do you want a Sheetz card? And I was like, yes. And I told this person, I was like, I have been waiting my whole entire life for somebody to ask me if I want a Sheetz card. Because I don't know how to open one up by myself. But you know what? I took care of it. It now lives on my keychain. And every time I go in there, they ask me, I just did it last night. I got 2 protein showdowns. They just asked me last night, do you have a Sheetz card? And we flashed the keys. And that was it. And now I have one. And I feel so good. So thank you to Sheetz for always having Snapple, because that's something that like isn't a guarantee at Wawa, which I appreciate. So I love my Snapple.
I did not tell her anything to give her a Sheetz plug. I didn't tell her to bring in Wawa either in this conversation. But we all know in Western Pennsylvania, we know that Sheetz is better than Wawa. But we can leave it there. But I am glad that Sheetz has those cheese blocks. I've had those cheese blocks before. They are delicious.
They are so good. Perfect try.
Yeah, let's get into something that you mentioned about getting ready within 6 weeks for the actual Miss Pennsylvania event. You said in 6 weeks you had to get a talent.
Yeah.
So can this quote unquote talent literally be anything, or is it like the status quo, like you can dance or you can sing? Is that it?
Oh, and I'm really glad you asked that question, because this is a perfect example. This is a perfect time for me to brag about our current Miss America, Camille Schreier. So Camille at Miss America and Miss Virginia actually won prelim talent both times at her state and the national competition with a science experiment as a talent. So you're going to have to go on YouTube and watch it. You're going to type in Camille Schreier, Miss America 2020 science experiment, and it will pop up with the coolest elephant's toothpaste experiment that you have ever seen. I promise. And she won the whole thing, the national competition, Miss America with a science experiment. So you can roll up and do anything. We had a lot of unique talents actually at Miss America this year. We had my Miss Kansas, Annika Wooten, did a speed painting of Ruth Bader Ginsburg, which is really awesome. That's also on YouTube. You're going to have to watch that. And Miss Nevada did a monologue, a comedic monologue. So we had a lot of really interesting talents. It wasn't just like dancing, singing, etc. Like we had some really, really cool stuff on stage. We had also Miss Idaho, Grace Zimmerman, did a pottery experiment, which was kind of cool to watch. So she actually spun a pot on stage. It was so cool.
Wow. So is that new to the Miss America competition, where you can do anything that it used to be you had to do something of their choosing, so to speak? Or has it always been like that?
Yeah, no, you can choose to do whatever you want. I think this year, because Miss America has rebranded, it was a little bit more welcoming of the non-traditional talents like science and like painting. So it's really whatever your personal preference is and whatever you want to do. So it's totally up to you.
Awesome. So your talent was?
My talent was dancing.
Nice. So you get up there and you do what? Do they give you 3 minutes, 5 minutes? You pick your song, you do everything, correct?
Yeah. So you, the choosing of like talent, like the song and the costume, all that stuff is beforehand. So we choose our song. We have to get the song cleared before it can be played on stage and during a live stream or on national television, should you make it that far. So there's a whole entire process before that. But once you get to Miss America, you have to actually cut that song down to 1 minute and 30 seconds or 90 seconds in total. And that's all the time that you have for talent.
So you're dancing and there's how many judges that are judging you?
So normally there is a panel of 7 judges. But this year at Miss America, we had 3 judges. So we had 3 judges. We had one that was a supermodel. There was one that worked for the Clinton Foundation, and there was one that was like an R&B music producer, which was kind of cool. So we had a pretty neat spread.
So we're going to get into the actual Miss America competition in a few minutes, but I want to get back to your cause, which is very important to you. So each Miss America contestant has a cause, I believe, and your cause was
My cause is adoption advocacy. So I am adopted. I was adopted at 2.5 years old, but the story starts much before 2.5. When I was born addicted, cocaine positive, and I was given a 2-week life expectancy. And I was told that if I lived beyond that 2-week life expectancy, that I would have this myriad of health complications and social issues. And there were just a lot of things that I was branded with that luckily 25 years later to this day are not true about me. And so, my year spent as Miss Pennsylvania is designed to educate and to promote adoption and foster care awareness. So that way people are not as intimidated by that process and they're more open and more willing to explore starting a family that way. And one of my talking points this year, or these will be these 2 years, is, adoption is an unconventional way to start a family, but it's not an invalid way to start a family. And so, just reminding people that there are 15,000 kids in the state of Pennsylvania and 500,000 nationwide that currently reside in foster care. And a lot of those kids, if they don't end up adopted, they're going to end up addicted, incarcerated, or dead. And my purpose and the reason I do this job is not for the glitz and the glam. And that's really a lot of times what it looks like. The purpose of my job is to make sure that those kids, that I educate enough people and families to make sure that those kids they end up a success story and not a statistic. And so that is like the crux of my job. That is what I do. And that is the cause that I promote throughout the year. So I've really enjoyed, I've met foster kids, I've met foster parents, and, I've heard some really, really cool stories. As a matter of fact, I did an event and I had a conversation with somebody's wife, and they came up to me later the following year at another event, and they said to me, you had a 5-minute conversation with my wife about foster care and adoption, and I just wanted to let you know that was so impactful that we ended up fostering a 17-year-old girl. And so we want you to know that is because of you and the meaningful conversation that you had with us. So that is why I do my job. It's things like that really, really make me happy and make me and remind me of why I do what I do. It's making a difference, not just in kids' lives, but in everybody's lives. And hopefully will, make it a lot less intimidating and make people more open to the idea of starting families that way.
So I got to be honest, I feel like we should have left that until the very end of the show, because now my heart is racing and I'm just like, yeah, let's go get them. And it's very motivational. But hey, there it is. At 8-7, we're only 17 minutes of the show, and we already got everything we could have bargained for. So that is an unbelievable story. That is unbelievable that it is impacting people, and that you can go and you can speak on their behalf as well, which is amazing. So hey, thank you for sharing that.
Absolutely.
I'm going to answer one question. A person just messaged and said, "Is she the queen?" Yes, she's the queen, bro. She's Miss Pennsylvania, man. What do you think this show is? We're not getting anybody on this show. You know what I mean? So, folks, we are on the zip code with Tiffany Seitz, Miss Pennsylvania. Sheets run and done. Thank you to Sheets. Maybe after this is all done, maybe Sheets will have you do some promos for them. You never know.
I will do a promo for Sheets. That would be a dream come true. As long as it involves Snapple and it involves the cheese block, I'm good. Those are my 2 travel essentials.
This is what I'm picturing. It's just like me on a sidewalk, and then like you come up and we're both eating like those cheddar cheese blocks, and you can have a Snapple in your hand, and the big Sheets store can be behind us
I'm
we'll work
serious.
on it.
That's an award-winning promo right there.
Hey, you know what? Just came up with it in 7 seconds. Let's do it.
There you go.
So, folks, we're going to get to a few different segments. We have a segment with a bunch of different questions that people have already sent in. And then we have my favorite, the rapid fire round, where you will learn a bunch of random things about Miss Pennsylvania. So I do have a few more questions, though, Tiffany, about exactly how the competition works. So on June 15th, 2019, you were crowned Miss Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
And you have to pick out a wardrobe. You have to have a talent. You have to have an evening gown, all those things. Number one, you get to you get to pick out your evening gown? You get to keep the evening gown, or does that go back to the place where you picked it from?
No. So I get to keep my evening gown, which is super, super nice. So I actually got to custom design my own evening gown for Miss America, which is super awesome. So I did my evening gown design with Regalia Magnificent Apparel out of Orlando, Florida. So David and Carrie, who work there, are the ones that helped me design my dream gown for Miss America. So it is so beautiful, and I get to keep it. Best thing ever.
Wow. That's like a dream. That's like a girl's dream come true right there.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Now, is there any a Mr. Americas out there? You know, I'd like to enter.
Well, not with our organization, but there are Mr. like pageants. There are pageants for there are. So if you're interested, I think there's a Mr. United States. So you could definitely be a candidate for that. I think that would be like fabulous, and I would definitely support you in that. So just saying, you should do it.
All right. Well, I mean, I don't know if I would do that, but maybe I would do a competition if Sheetz held it, because like, who wouldn't want to be Mr. Sheetz, you know?
I think that's great. Honestly, I feel like the best thing should be the prize should be Snapple.
There you go. Folks, here at Tiffany Seitz, Miss Pennsylvania. Let's get on to the actual Miss America pageant. So you go to Connecticut, correct?
Yep.
And all of a sudden you're on stage and you're having Mario Lopez and Kit Hoover introduce everybody, and you have a little bit that you do about yourself. How many hours does it take for each female to get ready for the actual event? And is it actually live?
Yes. So what you watch on TV is actually live. So it was crazy because we actually went into like that same morning that people watched it on television on December 19th. We went into the auditorium that morning and we saw the setup for the first time. And so all of us are like, oh my gosh, because we had been practicing. There was another space that we actually did our preliminary competition in. So it was an entirely other space. It was more of like a convention center feel where we did our preliminary rounds of competition, but we actually moved it into the Mohegan Sun's auditorium for the actual live portion that you saw. So we went in there. We had to like kind of reblock everything because the stage going from the preliminary space to like the final night space that was televised, it was a tad bit like smaller. So there was some like reblocking we had to do and removing around of people and girls and props and all that stuff to make it look the best for TV. So that process took us a couple of days. So we were mainly working out of that preliminary rehearsal space. And so once we got into the actual auditorium, we just ran whatever we did. We readjusted. And then we ran the show like a billion times before it actually aired that night. So after we finished our rehearsal portion, we got like 10 minutes on stage to kind of like feel out the space, especially for like the dancers. Just because in the event that we made it to the top 5 and would be performing talent, the flooring was actually slightly different from what it was in our preliminary rehearsal space. So we actually got to use our shoes, test it on the floor. And then after that, we went to get ready. We had like an hour or so to get ready. And then we did, which was actually new, we did a red carpet portion right before we went live. So we got to put on our evening gown. We got to walk a red carpet, get our pictures done, have some fun. And it was a really, really great thing. So after we finished that red carpet, we went back, got ready some more. And then after we did that, we went set on stage and then we were live. So it was a long process. It's like a full day of like rehearsal, as in like, you know, you're watching because the cameras are trying to get the angles. You know, we had to block based on what they were going to do and make sure that everything looked great for TV. It looked good on the Jumbotron. So it was a lot. It was a packed day of rehearsal and, you know, trying to figure out logistics, but still very fun and a really cool experience to watch up close.
So everything you see on TV, is that actually live? Like the actual top 10 and then they're doing their talent, et cetera. That's all live?
That's all live.
Now, this is another question, and that I'd like you to answer it honestly, but I mean, yeah. I understand if you can't. Mm-hmm. Is everybody really happy for one another? I mean, all you see is like, it's just like, I mean, are you?
Yes. You know, that's actually a fabulous question. And that's one that we get a lot. There's a lot of people ask, like, do you guys like get along, or do you like catfight? Are there people that you hate? And like, to be perfectly honest, like, no, no, we were actually all very happy. I think, what really like can get to people sometimes, and it gets to everybody, is because Miss America is a once in a lifetime experience, and you will never get to repeat that experience ever again. So when you're cut from like the top 15, like when you don't hear your name called, yes, there is this like wave of sadness. And there were a lot of tears. There were a lot of questions, as in like, what did I do wrong? What didn't they see? And, all that kind of stuff floods through your head. But, for me personally, I was like, it's either I'm meant for the job or I'm not meant for the job. And whatever it is okay with me. The fact that I even got to do that, the fact that I even got to be on stage with some of the country's most accomplished women, for me, that was an accomplishment in and of itself. So, yes, there is that like emotional thing that happens when you don't hear yourself called for like the next round. There is that. So there were a lot of tears. There were a lot of, emotions going on, but that was for everybody in their own different way. So very much so. But were we happy when Camille won? We were definitely happy when Camille won. And so the best thing is that I have actually known our current Miss America for almost a decade. I've known her for 8 years. So that very first pageant that I had talked about at the very beginning is where I met Camille. And it's so funny that I would meet her there. And we would end up going to Miss America together. And so that very first pageant that I did, Camille also actually won too. So it was really actually cool. I got to witness her win twice, which was awesome. So, she's a fabulous Miss America, doing an excellent job in the middle of a global pandemic. It's a really, really tough time to do this job at any level. But she's doing it at the national level, and she's doing a great job. So I couldn't be more proud of her.
Folks, are here with Tiffany Seitz, Miss Pennsylvania. If you have any questions, you can put them in the chat. We're about to get on to our next segment where I ask her a few questions that you guys have sent in. Tiffany, the beginning of Miss America, when you guys are all getting ready, how long does that take for hair, makeup, etc.?
Oh.
7 hours, 8 hours?
We're all women, so it does take a decent amount of time. Let me see. So if I'm doing like my hair and makeup, I'm thinking that it takes me, or at least like this morning when I was doing my hair and makeup, it took me almost 2 hours. So like for like Miss America type stuff, I'd probably say like for me personally, close to like 3 hours.
Wow. So are you doing everything before that show, or there's people everywhere that you like say, hey, I want you to do my hair and my makeup?
Well, no, actually, we had to do our own hair and makeup. The only thing that we had was we had seamstresses in the event that our gowns needed, or gowns or garments that we brought needed like emergency hem, emergency alterations. We had about 6 or 8 seamstresses backstage helping us out, getting us into our gowns, helping us change if we needed to change backstage. But other than that, hair and makeup, we were on our own.
So I have a message to all women out there. If nobody wears any makeup, everybody is still on the same playing field, and it saves you 2 hours. Look at that.
That's so true.
I'm just saying. I'm just stating right here, live on the Zip Code. There's a message for all women. So there you go. Folks, we're here with Tiffany Seitz, Miss Pennsylvania. We got a beautiful Sheetz banner behind us. Thank you to Sheetz. Sheetz run and done. Let's get into some questions that you guys have already sent in. Before that, the Queen Wave. Queen Wave. Let's talk about the Queen Wave for a second, because I'm thinking it's something like this, or do I need a little bit more wrist rotation?
Yes, very much like whole way around. It's like it comes from like the elbow, like here. It's like your whole forearm. Yes. Yep. That's it. And being perfectly honest, that's like one of the most asked questions I get. And never once in a parade have I ever in my lifetime waved like that. Like usually what I'm doing I am throwing candy. I'm doing this. I'm waving with both hands, or I do this. That's like the signature, I didn't steal that from Richard Nixon either. So right here. I like to think that he was alive before me, so it's whatever. But this is what I go to when I'm not waving.
So for the Zip Code's purposes, that's all you right there. The double piece.
I'll take it.
So we had a question that was sent in that says, how do I enter a Miss America competition?
Well, it depends on where you live. So, if you go to Miss America's website, missamerica.org, you will find a drop down menu and it will say like something like get involved. And so it will have a list of all of the states and the contact people for those states. So if you're competing in Pennsylvania, my executive director, Debbie Butcher, would be your contact. You can email her and figure out how you can get involved. So getting involved starts at the local level. So since I live in Butler County, my go-to local competition that would be closest to me would be Miss Butler County. So that's how I would enter to earn a local title to get to the state competition. So if I win Miss Butler County, I go to Miss Pennsylvania and compete as Miss Butler County. But if I don't win, if I win first runner-up, second runner-up, something like that, I have the option to go to other state competition, or excuse me, other local competitions around the state of Pennsylvania, and I can compete until I win a local title to get there. However, some of our competitions at the local level, some are open and some are closed. And what that means is if there's a closed competition, that means that you actually have to live in that city or in that area to be eligible for it to win that title. So in other words, we have a Miss Philadelphia competition. Miss Philadelphia is one of the oldest local competitions that we have in our state. And they actually are celebrating, I believe, their 99th anniversary this year, which is so awesome. And Miss Philadelphia is actually a closed title. So what that means is you have to live in Philadelphia or in Philadelphia County in order to be eligible to win that title. So you just have to look for those things, and our contacts within the state can help you understand that if you want a little bit more info on that. But what you'll have to do is you will have to contact wherever you want to compete, and then you will be in to hopefully win a local title to compete for my job or wherever you live, wherever their job is.
So technically, I'm just making this up here because I live in Mercer County. Let's say that Mercer County had a pageant and I would enter, I mean, not me, but just saying, somebody enters in and they lose. They could go to another open competition and they could compete again.
Correct. Yep. You can compete until you win a local title.
Wow. So how many were competing at the state level?
So this year we had 20, including myself, we had 28 women at the state level.
Wow. We just had a question pop up that said, does Miss PA have any autographed pictures that she will send to fans?
Yes, she does. So if you DM me your address, I will mail out an autograph card to you.
I'm thinking the zip code probably needs one of those eventually.
Code definitely needs an autograph card, 100%.
I mean, we got entrepreneurs, we got NFL players, we got NBA players, we got all these random guys, and then now we got Miss PA,
Look at that.
Whatever with those guys.
Send one to you, and I'm going to send one to Sheets, and you're just going to pass one along to Sheets.
That'll be fantastic. Folks, we are here with Tiffany Seitz, Miss Pennsylvania, representing the western side of PA where she grew up. Thank you to Sheets. Sheets Run and Done. Folks, if you do have any more questions, go ahead and put them in the chat. Another question that was sent in that says, what is a piece of advice you would give to a little girl that looks up to Miss Pennsylvania?
My best piece of advice that I can give to anybody looking up to me is, I think that this job comes with a lot of preconceived notions that you have to be something that you're not in order to win this job. And I will be perfectly honest with you that I have never heard anything farther from the truth. You have got to go in there and be yourself, because at the end of the day, that is what the judging panel is looking for. They're not looking for somebody who is trying to fake it until they make it, per se, right? But they're looking for somebody who can do the job, but who's also, in addition to that, going to be authentic, who's going to be real, who's going to be relatable. And those are all things that I try to be, not just as Miss Pennsylvania, but in my daily life as well. Those are things that I strive to be. And so, whether my crown is on or whether my crown is off, you're going to get the same exact person either way. And so, really pouring into yourself to try to be the best woman that you can be is my advice that I would give to anybody looking to do this job, or just in general. I mean, I think it's important that, we all put that effort into being the best that we can be and helping others get that way too.
So great advice. Getting back to the competition, is there an age group? Because my grandma just turned 93 today.
No way! Happy
And
birthday.
so I'm thinking, next year she'll be 94. Is there an age limit?
There. So there is, within the Miss America organization, there is an age limit. So we actually have two programs. We have a Miss program and we have a teen program. So in addition to me, which is so exciting, I get like a little sister for the year too. We have Miss Pennsylvania's Outstanding Teen. And we also have a Miss America's Outstanding Teen program, which is tailored for girls between the ages of 13 and 17. And our Miss program, which is the one that I'm a part of, is tailored for girls between the ages of 17 and 25. So those ages, we have like a little bit of like a border there. So if you are 17 and a junior in high school, you would be competing in the teen program. But if you are 17 and a senior in high school, then you would be competing in the Miss program. So that's the only difference with the ages there. But we do have Miss Pennsylvania's Outstanding Teen as well. We have a teen edition of me, which is so cool. Her name is Riley Evans, and she did an absolutely outstanding job at Miss America's Outstanding Teen this year. She placed top 10 in the nation and also won a preliminary talent award, which is absolutely incredible. And that is like one of the greatest honors that you can get at Miss America's Outstanding Team. Besides the title itself, she won a prelim award. So we are so proud of her for that. Right now she is at Penn State. She is a Nittany Lion. On the dance team, she's a Lionette. Yes, I know you graduated from Penn State. So we are, yes. So she
Penn
is
State.
there. I believe she's studying computer information systems, but whatever she is doing, I don't know what she's doing at the moment, but she's doing a great job. She's an absolutely fabulous young lady, and she has been a fantastic representative for the state of Pennsylvania as well. So it's been a pleasure serving alongside of Riley.
We got a couple more questions before we get to my favorite segment, the rapid fire round. So let's see here. Oh, does Miss Pennsylvania, now you don't have to answer this, but does Miss Pennsylvania get paid?
She does, yes. So we are a 501c3 nonprofit, but I still get paid in addition with the work that I do, which is really awesome. So I'm really grateful for that. It's been a second stream of income. But in addition to being a state title holder and getting paid for that, I also teach dance at Natalie's School of Champions in Saxonburg, Pennsylvania. So I have been fortunate enough to be able to do this job on the run constantly and teach my kids in Saxonburg as well. So it's been really, really fun. But yes, I do get paid, which is a perk.
That definitely is a perk. Folks, if you have any more questions, you can go ahead and put them in the chat. I'm going to save a couple questions for the end of the show. We're going to get to the rapid fire round with Tiffany Seitz. So Tiffany, here's how this segment goes. I have about 25 questions that are completely random.
Oh
and
boy.
You need to try to answer them as quickly as possible because I want whatever comes to the top of your head. They're very safe questions.
Okay.
Now, I want to preface this little rapid fire round by saying this. We have had some people that didn't think that this was rapid. It was more of like the slow round. All right. It's like, well, let me think about that. And then 7 minutes later, I'm just like, would you like to pass? So, all right. Tiffany Seitz, Miss Pennsylvania, on the zip code for the rapid fire round. Are you ready?
Okay, I'm ready. Ready's all over me.
Favorite food?
Pierogies.
Morning or night?
Night.
PC or Mac?
PC.
On average, how much TV do you watch per day?
Few hours.
One thing you're bad at?
Oh, this is there are so many things that I'm bad at. Saving money. That's an honest one.
Favorite fast food restaurant?
Oh, Panera Bread. Panera Bread's fast. I don't know if that is, but if Panera Bread doesn't count, I'm going to go ahead and say Burger King because they have great chicken fries.
Good call. Dream vacation spot?
Paris, France.
Dogs or cats?
Dogs. Favorite
sport?
Volleyball.
On average, how many hours of sleep do you get per night?
So like between like it, on any given day, it can be like between 5 to 9 hours. I go to bed really late, so I go to bed like at like I'm a crazy person, so I go to bed like 5, 6 a.m. because I'm up just doing stuff, work. So So really on any given day, depending on when I go to bed, it differs.
Let
So
me
5 to 9 hours.
let me check with the producer. Okay, we'll accept that answer. 5 to 9. All right. Let's see here. Beach or the woods?
Beach.
Hot or cold?
Hot.
Favorite band/artist?
The Beatles.
We'll come back to that. Sweats in a t-shirt or an evening gown?
Oh man, that's a tough one. I'll have to go with sweats and a t-shirt. I wear Calvin Klein athleisure like every day.
Favorite hobby?
Going to the gym. Does that count as a hobby? I know I need to do it.
We'll accept it.
Okay, I like that.
Aisle or window seat or the middle seat?
Window seat, 100%.
You know, who came up with that sick question? The middle seat? But
The middle's the worst.
we'll come back to that as well. I have a few statements of my own.
Yes.
One person you still look up to?
My mother, even though she's like 5 foot, I still look up to her because I love her so much. She's great.
Book or movie?
Book.
Favorite Disney movie?
Oh, golly. Let's see. I really like, you've got me stumped on this one. I'm going through the park in my head thinking, oh, The Haunted Mansion. The Haunted Mansion with Eddie Murphy is one of my favorite Disney movies.
Interesting. We've never received that answer. That's very interesting.
I was going to say, not one of your cliche ones, so that means you're going to have to watch it.
Very true. Breakfast, lunch, or dinner?
Dinner.
What's one thing most people don't know about Tiffany Seitz?
Wow. This is another one that stumps me because I feel like I'm like pretty out there. So maybe one thing that you don't know about me is I have the privilege of modeling for a local boutique called the White Elephant. So I do that on the side in addition to being Miss Pennsylvania and a dance teacher. So I'm too short to be an actual model, but I do model for White Elephant in Greensburg and Irwin. So you're going to have to shop them. They are a wonderful Miss Pennsylvania Scholarship Foundation sponsor, and they have the cutest stuff. So part of the reason I'm bad at saving money is because my wallet is always looking at things there, and they had a great new arrival drop yesterday. So I'm going to be there again.
Shout out to the White Elephant.
Uh-huh.
There you go. Let's see here. Favorite holiday?
Oh, gosh. Christmas.
If there was an extra hour in each day, what would Tiffany Seitz spend it doing?
I would probably be reading. I really like to read, and I don't do it enough. Like, there aren't enough hours in a day for me to actually like sit down and do like a book chapter. But my goal this year is to read more books than the average human reads in a year, which is 12. And right now I'm on like 6. So I really need to get like moving and grooving because we have less than 100 days left.
True. Appetizer or dessert?
Appetizer.
Which would be favorite appetizer?
This might not count as an appetizer, but the Olive Garden breadsticks. They bring those before your food.
We can count that.
Okay.
I believe it's the appetizer that just keeps on giving as well because they're just endless, correct?
It's bottomless. So, yep.
There you go. And now, Tiffany, let me just say that this last question I'm going to ask you is the most important question that I will ask you on this rapid fire round. And it is this. Where will the zip code be in 5 years?
Sheets.
And with that, folks, Tiffany Seitz, Miss Pennsylvania, is off the rapid fire round. She has completed it in style. That was a good rapid fire round.
I'll say. I think that was pretty good. But you stumped me on a few of those. A few of those were tricky.
Well, let's get to one question that I have for you. How short is too short to be a model?
So like standard model height, I think is like 5'9". So I'm like too short to be a model and too short to be a rocket. Isn't that sad? I stand at a whopping 5'3 3/4".
Interesting.
I know. And I told somebody one time, it was just recently, like within the last couple of weeks, I told them I was Miss Pennsylvania and they looked at me and they were like, "You're too short." And I was like, "Thanks."
You know, what is this? What is this world? Like, what kind of perception does this world have of just, if you're super tall, you're super good looking? You know, like, what is it?
I don't know. I don't know what it is.
I don't get it. So something else, the Beatles. So you love the Beatles.
I do. They're my favorite boy band. Oh my gosh. It's really between, so I love like old music. I'm a huge fan of like 1960s era slash like 80s rock. So like I really love the Beatles. I really love the Beach Boys. I really love not everybody might know who this is, but I love the Love and Spoonful, if you know who that is. The Love and Spoonful sings one of like the most popular songs ever, Do You Believe in Magic? But nobody knows they sing it. And it's in like the opening credits of The Parent Trap, which is so funny. And I just recently learned that too, but they are a great band. Um, so I love like oldies, but the Beatles are by far my favorite. They blow Five Sauce and One Direction out of the water. So if you want a real boy band that literally set the world on fire when they came over with their accents from England and won America over, it is the Beatles.
Don't be bad talking One Direction though. I do like One Direction.
I also love One Direction. I'll tell you a funny story about One Direction is like I liked them before anybody else knew they existed. So I was at like a Christian film festival and the music was like playing softly inside of like the theater and I was like, "Oh, I like this." And it was What Makes You Beautiful. And so I like got it on SoundHound and I was like, and I bought it on iTunes. And so I was like, I said to my friends, I was like, "Do you guys know this song? Like, do you like it? Because I like it." And they're like, "What the heck is that?" And then like everybody became a Directioner. And I was like, "You guys, come on."
Everyone's becoming a Directioner. You know, even a 29-year-old male. Look at me. So I do want to say, getting back to that middle aisle or window seat, whoever wrote these questions, that was a sick question to ask.
Well, who wants the middle seat first and foremost? Because if you want those sunset pictures, you've got to reach across the person that has the window seat. You know what I mean? Like, who wants to do that?
I would say the only time I ever like enjoyed the middle seat was when my brother was on the window and I could like sleep on his shoulder because I was so tired. You know, you don't want to do that with a stranger.
I was like, as long as it's somebody you know, that's good.
Very true. Very true. Folks, the wheels have been off for a while now on the zip code, and that is what makes this show entertaining. You never know what you're going to get here. We just had the rapid fire round with Tiffany Seitz, Miss Pennsylvania. Thank you to Sheets run and done. Tiffany, we're going to get to just a couple more questions, and we have a few more minutes here. One of the questions was, so far, what is one of your favorite moments as Miss Pennsylvania?
Oh my goodness. There are so many good moments, but I would have to say one of my favorite moments, I have a couple. So one of my fun moments is going to New York City to learn my Miss America talent. So I had the honor and privilege to travel to the Big Apple to actually learn my dance with Shea Sullivan at Broadway Dance Center in New York City, which was such a cool experience. Before this year, I had never been to New York City ever, but it was one of the places that I really did want to visit. So I visited. It was absolutely amazing, outstanding experience. And I had such a blast learning my talent there. So that was a lot of fun. But another moment that I really, really enjoyed is anything that I've done with the Milton Hershey School. So the Milton Hershey School is a really, really awesome school for kids, kind of like that have my background. And so being able to share my story with them was really an impactful thing for me. And just seeing the reaction that they had to it and the fact that they could relate to somebody like me really did my heart good to see. And that really made me happy. So of the whole year, I've had so many moments. I could sit here and tell you all the moments that I've enjoyed, but those are like my top two that I've really, really enjoyed so far.
So another question that just popped in is the strut that all people have or that all ladies in the competition have. Is that a learned thing, or you have it or you don't?
I think it really it depends. It really depends. Like for me, since I dance, like I feel like it's not something that I needed to learn. But for other people that might not have like a dance background, it might be a little more difficult to learn. But I think it really depends on the person.
So when you were at the Miss America actual competition in Connecticut,
Mm-hmm.
are the judges, are they like paying attention to like, oh, like that woman has an amazing strut, or like the way she walks? Are they paying attention to that, or is it like, all right, let's see like her actual cause, her talent, or is that literally all bundled into one thing?
Well, I think in part it is all bundled into one thing because they're looking for like the total package. They're not looking for just like, oh, she's good at one thing, but she might not be so great at this. They want her to be at least like decent at everything. And really what's key here is consistency. And so that's really, I think, I've never judged before. I mean, I've judged like some like local unofficial competitions and pageants, but for me, when I'm on the other side of the table looking for a representative, I'm looking for consistency. And I would say that's pretty standard with most judges. So it's not just about one thing. It's kind of about having it all in a sense.
Folks, we got only a few more minutes with Tiffany Seitz. So if you do have a question, a last minute question, feel free to put it in the chat. So what is next for you, Tiffany? So obviously, due to COVID, you are going to be Miss Pennsylvania for another full year. And then you will crown the new champion, I'm assuming. So after that, do you have any plans, or is that all up in the air?
So it's a little bit in the air right now. So the great thing though about the Miss Pennsylvania Scholarship Foundation is that it is a scholarship foundation. So what a lot of people don't know is that the Miss America organization is the largest scholarship provider for young women in the whole world. So Miss America Camille Schreier actually won between competing in Virginia and at our national competition, has won like, I think $80,000 she shared. That's enough to pay off my student loans 4 times. So really, really outstanding opportunities. But my organization here in the state has a lot of great partnerships with colleges that offer either partially paid or full ride scholarships to the winner. So for me and for my teen Riley, should we take those? So I'm considering going back to school, possibly getting a master's degree online at one of those universities that's offering a full ride, because it's one of those things that I had thought about after I graduated from Grove City. I didn't really know if I wanted to do that. And if I did, what would it be in? But, now that I have the time to really think about it and sit down and evaluate, I'm definitely considering like pursuing a master's after this. So that's what's on the table for me at the moment. Not positive. Anything can change within like the next 9 months, so kind of just waiting to see what's going to happen and how, the pandemic and COVID are going to change things. But those are kind of the plans that I have in the works for right now.
We had another question come in that said, have you met Miss America's counterpart, Victoria?
Miss America's counterpart, as in like the first runner-up to Miss America? Because there's 2 Victorias that I know, and I'll tell you who they are. So Victoria Hill is first runner-up to Miss America and was Miss Georgia and my roommate at Miss America. So we had a blast. I do know her very, very well. She's an absolutely incredible opera singer, currently studying at Eastman School of Music in upstate New York in the Rochester area. So she is doing fabulous things, but she was my roommate. I know, and her and I both have the same social impact initiative for adoption and foster care. So we were really able to bond over that, but she was an absolutely outstanding representative for the state of Georgia. I do know her very well. And the other Victoria I know is Victoria Pickett, who is the other Miss Pennsylvania. So for those of you that don't know, there are actually 2 of us. So I am Miss Pennsylvania in the Miss America organization, and Victoria is Miss Pennsylvania in the Miss USA/Miss Universe organization. So Victoria, who owns the White Elephant Boutique that I model for in Irwin and Greensburg, she is actually going to be competing for Miss USA the first week of November. So definitely tune in, check her out, and she's going to do outstanding. So we actually had like a super fun Miss Pennsylvania photo shoot together. So I don't know which Victoria you were talking about, but both of them I know really well. Both of them are really amazing and I love them so much. So great question and great reason for me to talk about my Victorias.
So before we end here, do you know every single state representative then? Because you named like a bunch and you're like, oh yeah, they do this. Like, so do you know all of them?
I do. Yes. So we were all like we were all kept in the Mohegan Sun for like 10 days. So we all got to know each other really well, became great friends. So it's an amazing experience. So I love to joke with people that I know the prettiest person in like every state. So I love them all. They are absolutely amazing. So it's been fun.
That's not part of the job though. Like, who is Miss Oregon? I mean, that's not part of the job.
No, but I could tell you who she is. She's awesome. Damn, she's great.
There's actually 51, correct? Because there's one in DC as well.
Yes. So DC is also counted in the 51. Yep.
Gotcha. All right, we'll get to the last question and the day-to-day operations of your job being Miss Pennsylvania. What does that look like day to day?
So day to day, really, especially recently, it hasn't been much. Because of COVID, I haven't been traveling and doing anything that much. So right now it's kind of trying to work on the back end of stuff, produce social media content, email and keep up with sponsors, and, kind of set some goals for the upcoming months and, life possibly after COVID, whenever that ends or whatever. But, prior to this, it was, there was a lot of traveling. I could be out of town for a day or I could be out of town for like a week and a half. So it really depends on, what the request is and where it is. And reason being is because our organization operates out of York, Pennsylvania, which is about 3.5 hours east of Pittsburgh. So anything that I do usually is out that way. So for one appearance for a day, I could be traveling 6 hours in a car, a 600-mile round trip in one day. But it could also be like I'm out there for a few days doing multiple different things and then coming home at the end of the week. So, that was kind of my life before COVID happened. And I'm kind of been working out of my home for right now, but, it gets really busy and it picks up fast, but it definitely kept me on my toes and was a lot of fun.
So if somebody's watching right now and they have some organization or maybe they're a part of a school and they want you to come speak, how would they do that?
So you can go to misspa.org. There is a booking tab on that website and you can put your request in and we will have my booking manager get in contact with you.
Do you speak at a lot of schools?
I do. Yeah. Not recently because of COVID and I don't think they're letting guests in right now, but virtually more than welcome to do that. But also if you would have me in person, I would definitely love to come too.
Awesome. Ladies and gentlemen, Booker. I mean, let's get her something in the western part of the state here.
Yeah.
Come on, represent.
Second largest city in Pennsylvania, and also might I add, sorry for my Philly viewers, we are the city of champions.
Amen to that. Amen to that. Sheets run and done.
We also have sheets over here too.
Absolutely. Folks, this has been a blast. Tiffany, a couple things before we go. Number one, thank you for being willing to share your inspirational message. Keep it up. It definitely is inspiring. Like I said at the very beginning of the show, like, hello, if you heard this message, you're just ready to go out there and do something. That's awesome. So continue to do that. Thank you so much for coming on the show. Thank you for answering the Zip Codes call.
You got it. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Been a wonderful guest. Maybe in the future, you will still be a friend of the show. You'll always be a friend of the Zip Code. And don't forget that autographed picture, we will take that at any time.
I was going to say, you drop your address and it's yours. And one's going to Sheets too, just FYI.
Definitely. Folks, this has been the Zip Code with Tiffany Seitz, Miss Pennsylvania. Tiffany, thank you so much. And we will talk to you soon.
Absolutely. Sounds good.
I love you, Shenango Valley.
Yes.